Oh, witches are we, witches are we, witches are we on a Wednesday.
Lovely.
Yes, I know. So we've got it in dual
Stereo.
purpose now. In stereo. Yes. Delayed stereo, darling. So, specs off. How was your birthday, love?
It was fine. It was good. Very low key.
Was there champagne?
There was champagne, yes. There was,
well,
of course. I'm not going to have a birthday without bloody champagne. But it was very nice indeed. We went out and had a meal in the Thai.
Nice.
Yes, because Alex had gone for a sleepover with these schoolmates, so we actually got to go out and stayed out and had a meal.
Out.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was splendid, and it was it's a bit odd when you're a birthday with a 9 in it because you kind of know the next one is like, oh heck, oh blimey, oops, no. But yeah,
I'm at halfway house. I'm all right. I'm a 5.
Yeah, you're all right.
I'm all right. I'm a 5. Well, not so springy, but anyway. Yes. So who have we got in? We have Redwing. Hello. And we've got Wibblechick Chris. Hello. And of course we've got Hannah. Hi, hands. Hello. And yes, anyone else who happens to be watching or watching back later. And Jen. Hello. Across the pond. Hello. So yes, anyone else that's watching back, hello to you too. So, other than drinking bubbles, Heather,
the bubbles, yes,
bubbles, my bubbles. I bet it was too. Bubbles, my bubbles.
Indeed.
What witchery have you been up to? Because it's been a couple of weeks.
It has, and I always have this every single time, and I can't think now. What have I done? I can't think. I know I've done lots because there's been a lot going on, but recalling it, lots of healing for friends and family with health. There's been a lot of that going on. Trying not to spread myself too thin because I do that.
Easier said than done, isn't it?
It's not a good idea, and I did feel a bit kind of. A little under the weather, shall we say, a few days back. And I got over it quickly because I stopped. I was like, right, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to do reasonably little for a day and I'll be fine. And that's exactly what happened. But I'm now very achy from doing Pilates. So it's always the day after, you see. It's like, but I like the feeling stronger, physically stronger, which I'm starting to see that now. So that's a really good thing.
That's quite quick, isn't it? Because it's only been a few weeks you've been doing that. So to feel the benefit already is quite impressive, really.
Yeah. Well, I never take long with things like that. It doesn't take much for me to sort of get going again, if you know what I mean. I've always been quite good at that kind of thing. But just muscle memory and sort of thinking, okay, I remember what the core muscles are for and what these do. And it's an interesting
I like that. A quick jiggle, what these do.
Well, anyway. Now.
We know what they do, love.
Indeed. Well, the magical aspect of it has been is that it's reconnecting with your body in a different way. So you're kind of having to be aware of it in a very different way. And that's good. It's interesting to come at it from a different angle and just be aware of things. And it's important because you tend to spend a lot of time in your head. And I did yoga for many years, and I suppose you kind of get slightly habituated to what you're doing, and it becomes a bit automatic. So to change it up and do something completely different is a bit of a revelation. My poor old body has been in shock, I can tell you. But I'm enjoying it, and I think it makes me feel stronger, not just physically but mentally as well. Which is what you need to do magic. You need to be in a strong place mentally if you're going to do your work. You
do, most definitely.
You do that.
So most of your healing magic, has that been mostly done hermetically, or
pretty much? Time and tide. Yes, exactly. And it has been that way. It's been more about visualizations and connecting with the people concerned and just making sure they've got, that you're sending them the right thing and visualizing them in the right space. My usual method of doing things, it's true, but it's for me, it's always a time thing because I just don't. Literally every hour of the day it seems to be getting busier and busier, and I'd like not to
well
be
and
quite
truly
so busy.
occupied. You're
Yeah,
well and
I'd like
truly
to be not quite
occupied,
so
aren't
busy,
you?
but yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's a full-time, more than full-time business that I'm running, but I do enjoy the challenge, though. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. It's not a burden. And it's the learning of new things, as I've said, which magically, physically, and everything is such a good thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, but it's been a lot on the healing and trying to get things sorted. You know, and people are, as anyone who knows the NHS, and we were saying about this earlier, you know, often if you deal with more than one department, they don't talk to each other, and you end up with a real mess when it comes to arranging appointments and who's talked to who and exactly what the bloody hell's going on. So there was quite a bit of work around that. You know, it was a case of this poor woman has been put through goodness knows what, and it's like, no, this needs to be sorted because you can't do that to someone with dealing with a difficult illness. And they have actually sorted it. Everything has settled down now, and now I think right, we're on the right path.
So,
yeah,
it's not easy dealing with the powers that be, is it? And you sort of, I don't know, there's so many times, and they really have you over a barrel, and your hands are tied, and you think, oh. You know, you can see the logic of how something should be, and yet the reality of it just doesn't come up to scratch. And you think, oh God.
And especially lately because they're so busy with other stuff, you know, they're catching up on backlogs and goodness knows what. And they're very capable people, but there is something about the administration, the way things work, don't work currently. No, actually, it's always been the same. It's just slightly worse now. That leads to some of the problems, the unnecessary annoying problems that don't help people get better. And the whole point of the NHS or any health is to get people better. So it's been a little bit of a battle, but we're you know, I'd say she's getting there, and I think it's feeling in control. I think a big part of feeling well mentally is to feel that you have some measure of control over your life. And of course, a lot of these big organisations and edifices you have to deal with somehow rob you of that. So it's quite important to take some of it back, at least to feel you've got some say and input, and you're not just a jumble of organs and parts, you know, to be dealt with.
Exactly. No, it isn't easy. As I say, you know, whether it's the NHS or any other organisation, a big one, you know, you've got to deal with them, and it's just, you know, you feel like you're banging your head on a brick wall sometimes because you can see how something ought to be. And you sort of think, actually, there's quite a simple solution to that if you only do this, that, and the other. But because of red tape, because of one department talking to another one, it all ends up being a farce. Actually, it's not funny at all, is it?
And it makes the whole process of healing far more difficult if you've not got that real connection with a person who's your advocate within the organisation, which I think is so important. You know, you've got to try and create that somehow, and it's a challenge, and it's an extra step that people don't always need.
No, and it just I don't know, unnecessarily draws things out too, doesn't it? And you think, you know, there's no need for this really. But it's what it is, you know. But a bit like politics, really, it's the same thing. You can sort of, like, as a layperson, quite often see a really simple solution. And yes, I dare say there's various blips and reasons why not specifically a simple solution might be. But you know, sometimes less is more.
Exactly.
It's just a different way of going at it. I've been doing all sorts of different varieties of magic, which has been fun. I haven't been doing it for fun. I mean, it's, you know, been necessity.
It's work.
Yeah, exactly. It is work. But it's interesting to do different varieties of magic. I like variety, and I like, you know, sort of thinking outside the box. So actually, let's try that because that may well do this. So, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, you know, did a lot of creating of incenses, for example. You know, and there's been a lot of that going on, and then we've been doing stuff that worked in conjunction with these incenses. So we've done some sigil and mirror magic. That was quite good. Finished that off today. That was a long-term job. Well, relatively long-term, medium term, I suppose. It was a sort of a thing that took 4 days to complete. One of those ones, rather than bish bash bosh all done. So that was interesting. And it's, you know, it's sort of nice sourcing the various things and suddenly thinking, do you know what? I've got that. That's perfect. You suddenly remember something. So there was a certain salt that I suddenly remembered that I had rather than a plain salt. but it was a salt that I'd created many moons ago. Actually, it had just been sitting in a jar, and it's like, do you know what, that'd be absolutely perfect, because it had been, yeah, it was an opportunity to use it, and it had been sitting soaking with acorns for a really really long time, and
Wow.
as we wanted the benefit of salt, and we wanted the benefit of the magical properties of the oak, it was perfect. It's like, well, I've got oak salt, perfect.
Well, yeah.
And I've had it for ages, it was just perfect. So we did that and created a sigil. And that's always an interesting thing to do, and there's so many different ways of doing it. You sort of got your hard and fast rules, and some people will say, "Oh, you always have to do this, and you must do that, and take these out."
It's whatever works for you, isn't it? It's
whatever works for you, yeah. And actually, what was interesting was that the sigil that was finally created, which ended up being from a sort of a conglomeration of letters and shapes, but it was letters and shapes and sort of selection of sort of dots and other bits and pieces, actually, and other symbols too. But what actually was really interesting was that how it ended up looking, it actually looked pictorially the outcome of what was required. Actually, it was really interesting how it turned itself out. It's like, oh, okay, and it really was just these letters and shapes ended up just by chance. Oh, look at that. That's actually what we want. So that was interesting, getting that done. And then that was inscribed onto a mirror, and then the salt was used on top of that, and then it was had to sit and so on. So, so that was good, and so that was finished off today.
So you put it onto the mirror. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I've not done. I've not.
So I've done it. I've done this before several times. I had a friend of a friend ask for some help a couple of years ago, and I got her to do the salt and the mirror thing then, and I did it slightly differently. So because obviously, in my opinion, you've got a mirror, and it reflects back at you, and it reflects back everything. Theoretically, it reflects everything back that's there. And if something's missing, either in your life or in your desires, if something's missing, then that part that's missing will show up in the mirror, or either the bit that's actually physically missing will show up, or it will show there's a void where it should be, either or.
I see.
So it's to then create what you want in the void.
Sorry. Yeah.
You need beer, love.
I do. Cheers. That's my excuse.
So it's creating, either showing up what's currently missing, revealing what's missing, or showing what is missing and where it should be, and then sort of putting it into that void. And then what we do is then cover the whole mirror in salt, because obviously salt's purifying and so on and so forth. And then you can either do a sigil within that, or you can hold it and hide it so it soaks into the salt. Sometimes I'll get people to actually make the salt wet. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it, and let it sit. Kind of then just sort of like draws whatever it is out. And my view is, it visually, whatever should be there is drawn into the salt. Do you know what I mean? It's drawn in.
Yeah.
So there's that's sort of one of the things that I've done that in various different sort of slight variations quite a few times with quite success. Actually, it's quite a good one. So I've done that, and we've been doing some candle magic, haven't we? Done some candle magic, which was fun. That was a 3-night job as well, and that was fascinating. It involved 4 candles in total.
4 candles.
4 candles.
How many times you get the opportunity to say that?
It actually did, yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah. And that was good, and that was the sort of the age-tested way of sort of moving candles together and so on and so forth. So we did that. But what was fascinating about that was watching the reactions of the different candles that represented different, not specific people, but represented types of people, if you like. And it was fascinating to watch what the candles did, and they all behaved in entirely different and independent ways to each other. You know, and they sort of like would have some that had like the hopping flames, and then one sort of decided it was going to have 2 and then 3 and then 4 different flames going all at the same time. Pillar candle, not pillar,
Yeah.
dinner table candle, and yet had 4 flames going at one point. You know, it was just
Cool.
fascinating to see how they all did. You know, and it was just, yeah, it was really good. There was a certain amount of salt involved with that too, and so on. So yeah, so that was all good. Oh, and some sigil carving and you know, various other carvings on the candles too. So that was all good. Did get interrupted by a Liberal Democrat at one point.
I bet he regretted they knocking on your door.
Well, actually, it started off sitting in the garden, and we're sort of literally halfway through the first part, sort of, you know, waving candles aloft like you do, and yes, he sort of just came through a little fence. I'd like to talk to you about the Lib Dems. It's like,
Your timing's a bit off, mate.
if you like. Elections tomorrow.
So are they still going?
So yeah, so that was quite interesting. So I was sort of, you know, this sort of like held aloft the entire time of, you know, chatting to him, and he's kept looking
and not a word was said. I think I said
no,
no.
nothing at all. What is that? Just don't mind me. It was really quite amusing. So,
Oh dear. Well,
different. I have to admit it's different. So yes. Anyway, he obviously wasn't perturbed or put off by it.
no.
He was a man on a mission.
He was determined to come all that way to speak to you, because let's face it, there's not many people down your
No, exactly.
road,
It's not much up here, is there? No, it's not much up here. It's like, I'm going to go and find the witch in the woods. There she is. Oh, she's got her candles out. All 4 of them. It was quite amusing, really. Anyway, he wasn't perturbed and he wasn't put off, and he, you know, yeah. So that was that. So yes. So yeah, so mirror magic and candle magic. In the process, it it looks like some kind of apothecary in here at the moment. I've got bits and pieces everywhere. We've got some new incense being created a bit later on today. So how many ingredients is this one? Something like 36, I think, or 38.
Dear.
38 ingredients in this particular incense that we've got being created. So that's a big.
That's a thingy, isn't it? Is it being pounded as we speak?
No, not yet. It's being ignored. We've got a couple more to collect when it's dark. But yeah. So yeah, that'll be that one. That'll be later on today. And of course, we've had Beltane.
I know.
Good old Beltane.
It's glorious, and yeah, just the greenery of it all, and the fragrance of bluebells, and
oh god, yeah,
it's gorgeous. We had the most horrific downpour actually this evening.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, an absolute cloudburst, and just as I was taking Nigel out because he's meeting up with some workmates, so we were sat there in the van. It's just stair rods. It's like,
gosh, yeah,
well, that's the rain we needed, obviously, but we got it all in one go.
All in one go in about 20 minutes flat. Yeah,
it's fine now. So, but you know, it just made everything smell different and give it all an impetus to grow again.
What do they call that? Petrichor.
Yeah, that smell.
I think that is, isn't it? That smell, petrichor. It's a very nice smell. I like it.
It is. It's the smell of something happening, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There's very often a smell of something happening around here. Muck
in a good way.
Muck spreading's one of them.
Yeah, that's not the kind of something you really want to be happening.
No, but it is definitely the smell of something happening. And drains, or rather lack of. Nice. So yes, that's not necessarily such a good thing, but yeah, I spent most of Beltane in a shed at the bottom of somebody's garden.
That can be read so many ways. And Tony Jackman, bless him, hello Tony, has said, excuse my ignorance, but what is Beltane? Which perhaps we should explain before.
I think that's a marvellous idea. Let's, after you.
After me. Well, after you. Yes. I mean, many theories as to how and when and the whys and the wherefores, but basically for us it's spring coming to life. It's everything just exploding. It's sensual and magical and sexual and glorious. It just feels amazing.
Yeah. So it's a specific time of year, Tony, and Date-wise, it's the midpoint between the is it the vernal equinox, which is obviously on the 21st of March, 20th, 21st of March, and the summer solstice, which is the 20th or 21st of June. So it's the halfway point between the two. And obviously that falls on the 1st of May. So that's the point where, you know, obviously spring has well and truly sprung as of the 21st of March. And we haven't yet hit midsummer. It's literally that halfway point. And traditionally it's been celebrated in lots and lots of different ways. Obviously you've got your whole maypole things going on, and obviously that's, you know, obviously that's a phallic thing, and so you've got fertility stuff going on there. And you know, there'd be the Beltane fires, so it's actually a festival of lights, isn't it? So you'd have the bonfires and so on, and people would drive cattle through the different fires that would be lit to celebrate it on different fields and so on, and the cattle would be driven through for a purification, and the sheep, I believe, for purification.
Gets some parasites, you see.
Exactly.
Practical. There's a practical edge to it too.
Exactly. Yeah, singe them off. Singe them off. Nice. Yes. So yeah, so that's the thing. So yes, it is a sort of a yes, it's a light celebration, but it's more than that. So you've got fertility rites and things going on, and you know, so lots of celebrations regarding the wheel of the year, which is how the wheel turns agriculturally, essentially. So yeah, you've got all sorts of stuff going on, and I'm sure Chris will and as Chris says, Beltane, it's celebrating all the things nice women aren't supposed to know about.
Indeed, and Simon has contributed. Most mindfully.
Outdoor, oh yes, outdoor effing. Oh yes, effing it. Fatality and all that goes with that. What are you talking about? Fatality.
Fertility. It means fertility. It's a typo.
Autocorrect. So you just love it.
It's very dangerous, autocorrect.
I think you'll find fatality is more Samhain based.
But they're not too far apart word wise, are they? Yeah. That's 6 months away.
Fertility. Nice. Yeah. Can we yes. Done that. God, you can't get stuff, can you? So yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yes.
It's
anyway,
full on time of the year.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and all that jazz. Yeah. So yeah. So popping about and enjoying maypoles in their various different guises.
Well, yes, there seems to have been quite a revival in maypole dancing, although I didn't get to go to one. And one of the ones local to us was like, oh, it's the Southborough Spring Fair and there'll be maypole dancing. I'm thinking, I bet they've no idea. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Have they any idea what that really is about?
When I was a kid, we used to do it at school. I remember
that.
Yeah,
so did we. Yeah.
I don't think I was ever let loose with one of those ribbons. I think they thought I might make a mess, and I probably would have done, to be fair. So yeah.
Yeah. Get lost in it and then make a knot rather than a woven
yeah, suddenly you end up being tied to the stake by mistake. We know your sort.
Well, when I had my hand fasting, my lovely high priestess Maureen Brown, it was her back garden, and she basically managed to put a maypole up, even though it wasn't spring. You know, obviously it goes with hand fastings. So what they did was they actually kind of put us back to back against the maypole and then danced around us. So we were kind of literally bound. Wow. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's really cool.
And obviously they let us out, you know, because
you're here. Yeah,
because I'm still here. But it was quite a strange experience.
Yeah. Wow, that is cool. Something else actually I've just thought of that's associated with it, of course, is the burning of the Wicker Man.
Yes, although isn't it in the movie at Midsummer's though?
Isn't it Midsummer's? No, it's quite often. No, yeah, it's been So locally at Butser Farm, they do that. They burn.
Oh yes, I know they do. Yeah. I mean, I think it's more appropriate to Midsummer. I mean, to
Midsummer
Beltane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So that's something else that happens, wasn't it? Because again, it's all the bellfires, isn't it?
yes, exactly. Yeah, very much the thing. Oh, and Chris has said first time she heard the word widdershins was when I went the wrong way around a maypole when I was 4.
Wow.
Widdershins is so much better than counterclockwise.
It is, isn't it? It's
Well,
much nicer word. Much nicer word. I much prefer it.
It's a very strange word.
Yeah, I like it though. It's a good word.
I like it too.
Yeah, so that was good. Anyway, the reason, going back to it, the reason that I was in a shed at the bottom of somebody's garden
Oh,
for
yes.
the entire day was I was on a jewellery making workshop.
Yes, tell the good people what you were doing.
Making rings,
Yes.
special ones.
Yes. I can't wait to see.
No.
Well, I'll have to wait to see.
They're going to be under wraps until August.
Of course.
Yes. Yes.
Lovely.
Yes. So yes, so we did that, and actually that was what 7 or 8 hours worth, and that was brilliant. It was money well spent. Actually, it was excellent, and it was a really nice day. Actually, I mean, you know, weather-wise, it was a bit pants. Hello, fish. Weather-wise, it was a bit pants. Would you like to see the fish, Elliot?
Oh,
Here it is.
kitty
Here it
alert.
comes.
Oh, hello.
Ew. Finally got up. It's been on the bed all day, haven't you? Yes, on the cosy pillow, haven't you?
Oh, there we go. Oh, no. What are you doing to me now?
That's mother. No. So yeah, so it was really nice and it was really good. I mean, it wasn't a cheap thing to do, as in cheap, but actually it worked out, you know, really on an hourly basis, you know, relatively inexpensive on an hourly basis. And the bottom line is that you got exactly what you wanted and something that's entirely unique, because we designed rings from start to finish, and it was made
a magical element in there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the designs on there are magical, and it's amazing because I had lots of they're silver, predominantly silver, and they've got all the silver that was used was just broken bits of jewellery that I'd had, you know, silver jewellery that I'd accumulated over the years and haven't got around to whatever. So yeah, it's that whole recycle, reuse, repurpose, and so on. And of course, that meant then that instead of having, you know, sort of 2 chunks of metal that don't know where it came from and so on, it's got my energy in that. And so, you know, 2 rings were made out of 1 lump because obviously it was all melted down. So yeah, 2 rings were made out of 1 lump, and yeah, it was nice actually, it really was. And you know, the whole design process was really interesting as well, because prior to going, hadn't fully decided on what designs we wanted at all, and it was like, we could do this and maybe that, and that's nice, and what about this, and then there was this sudden kind of moment of literal flash of inspiration. What about this? Oh, let's try that. How about that? What if we put that with that? And then suddenly bang, there it was. And it was brilliant actually. It really was nice.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really good. Local to me too, which was quite nice. We did about 10 minutes away, and she made a banging vegan lunch. Even better.
Wow. There you go.
So I didn't have to take any peanut butter sandwiches or anything, so that was quite nice. Didn't have to gnaw on her lawn. No, didn't have to go on all fours and gnaw on the lawn or anything. She actually made a vegan chili, so that was lovely. So yeah, it was all good stuff. So yeah. Yes, as Chris says, hello, Kitty. Right, what we've got here. Yeah, it was lovely, wasn't it, Hans? It was. So yeah, Aileen Hamilton, as Hannah says. Aileen Hamilton. And she does all sorts of things. Oh yeah, she's got these cats, they're lovely. They're tortoise shells rather than tabbies. Yeah. But we did take our own coffee. Yeah. Hello, Susan. Hope you're well. And also hello, Tony. I didn't get a chance to say hello to you. So hello. And Simon, hello.
Hello.
Lots of peeps. So yeah, so that was a really good day, and of course it was a perfect day to do it. You know, we had the dark moon on the Saturday, so it was the very, very first part, timing wise, it was, purposefully selected to be on that day. So obviously there was the dark moon, and of course that was the second dark moon in the month of April, making it a black moon, particularly powerful. Yeah, so that was lovely. So that made it a black moon, and of course the black moon itself was at 9:38, I think it was, in the evening on the Saturday. So it was still very much within the power of the whole new moon, black moon thing of new beginnings, new starts, everything else.
And that's the whole what you wanted in your dream. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so it was perfect. And of course, being Beltane and all the connotations that you've got with Beltane, it was yeah, exactly. It couldn't have been
better timed.
No, it couldn't. And the fact that she was able to accommodate us on that day, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, yeah. Susan's been doing her exercises with her dog, and very helpfully he's licking her face. Nice.
She's got quite the setup.
They like a bit of salt, don't they, dog?
Yeah, I hope you're getting a good sweat up there.
Yeah. My cat Barney has a propensity to lick my elbows. I've clearly got very sweaty elbows. I don't know why. As the outside part, I might add.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely, but there must be some particular tastiness to your elbow.
The tip of my elbow. I can't reach it. I've tried.
Yeah, it's well known that people can't lick their own elbows.
You can't lick your elbow. So no matter how hard I try, I can't tell whether Barney's onto a winner or not.
You haven't been sort of smearing meat paste or something?
Yeah, that's just gross.
Oh, yes, it is. Tuna, that would be the thing.
What, tuna on the end of my elbow? Yeah, just dip it in. Ew, no, that's just not nice at all.
It's disgusting, yeah.
Yeah, dunk it in. Ew. No. Nope, not doing that. No.
Oh dear. Well, Susie does say, to be fair, she was laying on the floor, and maybe you thought she was going. And I know her dog is probably did get all overprotective and sensible. Thought he'd lick her back to life.
Yeah. I think it's more to the fact that it's that revolting when they do it. It makes you go. Oh yeah. My daughter's dog has a thing about sticking its tongue either in my ear or in my mouth. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. He'll look at you and he suddenly goes.
Oh, man.
He does. He'll look at you and he'll be here and he suddenly goes.
Yeah, I'm not into a dog person to be putting up with that.
No, don't like. Oh, hello. Oh,
another cat.
No, it's the same stripy fella. He's looking all cash, but he's squashing everything, aren't you? Yes. That's because I've got piles and piles of rubbish next to me. Well, not rubbish, but stuff next to me, and he's sitting on top of the lot, aren't you? Yeah, you monster. Yeah. I'll tell you something else that I did, which is all rather nice. So I had my moot yesterday. I haven't been able to have my moot for a little while because I haven't been very well. So I have my, it's a real-time moot for anyone that doesn't know, and it's a real-time moot gathering, witches gathering. And we had that yesterday, and we did a wand staff making workshop.
Oh, you got to do that. Yeah, brilliant.
We finally did that. And so my friend who'd been attacking various plants and trees in the garden brought them along.
Okay.
There were plenty to choose from, especially as most of them were at least twice the size of any standard staff you could imagine.
So that's a log, basically.
They were very, very tall trees, basically. And no saw.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they turned up in her daughter's van. She's got an enormous van.
Well, clearly.
They turned up in that. There's about 12 in there, I think. So, oh, wow, they're not going to fit in anyone's car at all. You got a saw? No. Oh. So her daughter was, it was suggested that her daughter start gnawing. But we realised that might take some time, and somebody else phoning a local husband would probably be quicker bringing up a saw, which is exactly what happened, fortunately. So, so fortunately somebody turned up with a saw. and I needed to chop them down
Really?
to more suitable sizing. And so one of them was about 15 foot long.
Yeah. Not really, just too much. Too much.
So, oh, okay. But that was really nice. And we had acrylic paints, and we had ribbons and wool and various other charms and decorations and stuff. And that was really nice doing that too. So, sort of making one staff, sorry, from start to finish. Obviously, you end up with a selection.
Well, everyone does it so differently, don't they? That's the thing. It's if they're working intuitively.
Yeah. It was interesting though, because a couple of weeks ago I had my granddaughter staying, and we went off out into the Bluebell Woods and found a jolly good stick, like you do, which to all intents and purposes was staff sized and shaped. And we ended up just painting that randomly with different colours and then putting various little pictures on that she wanted, sort of, Mama, can you draw a cat? Nanny, can you draw a frog? And so on. So there was all sorts of bits and bobs on there, and there was a bear at the other end and so on, which was nice. But mostly that was just, sort of daubing on paint and seeing how you got on. But it was quite nice to do something like we did yesterday, and there was specific placements of ribbons using certain colours and so on. And that was based on ancestral colours, which was really nice actually to do that. So yeah, and it's, it's not a way that I've decorated staffs before. I've sort of done them with, binding them with wool or painting them or, symbols and whatever, that kind of stuff. And there's some of that to come, but actually it was quite nice doing that. And because I hadn't supplied either the wool or the staff or the ribbons, I took various paints and things along, but didn't take those kind of bits. And it was quite nice having the energy and elements from other people to put onto that stuff. And that was quite nice actually, because obviously they were all, sort of freely given. So yeah, that was actually really nice. It was, very much a sort of share and share alike evening. Lots of, plenty of laughs to be had along the way. So yeah, it was really nice actually. A nice evening. So and there was gin, even better.
Always helps.
It does. Yeah, pink. Oh yes. Oh yeah, nearly finished this one. My butler's going to get me some.
Yes, I was going to say, put your order in. Go to the bar for me.
Yes, there's a waitress service with a smile. You've got to get buttling. They're going to do a good buttle now. Come on. Buttle you to the kitchen, wench.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, I'll be in trouble later. Oh dear, that laugh said it all.
Oh.
Oh dear. Yeah, so it's been quite full on actually. We've been doing all sorts of bits of magic. As I say, there's some that I enjoy doing more than others. And there's been, sort of like the run of the mill stuff of, sort of witchery in the kitchen and that kind of stuff. But it's the outside the box, or shower magic or whatever. But it's the stuff that's outside the box, and it's
that's it. When you do something very different. Or when you've got a particular thing that needs work. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the nice thing. But I love that whole thing of like coming up with a different way of doing something that either a variation on something that I've done similarly. I'm thinking, actually the basis of that's quite good. Let's tweak it for that.
It's creative, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's sort of creation in a different sort of way, and I like to, I sort of like to create all sorts of bits and pieces. But it's just nice to, I don't know, get the old grey matter going, really.
Yeah, it's more of a challenge, isn't it, when you're going to do something that's not familiar? When you're suddenly presented with something, you're like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, like I say, it's that odd thing of having to sort of, I really like reimagining a space. So if something's not working terribly well and I want to design something, I literally start building it in my head. I start visualizing it and I get very clear and very detailed, which is how I've designed things like en suites and kitchens and things, because my mind likes doing that. If I had to do it as a job, I'd probably hate it. because I'm doing it in my own way, which is sort of building it visually, virtually, so that when the real thing comes down to it, it's a lot more straightforward. So now they're contemplating doing something with the sheds at the bottom of the garden.
Ooh.
Yes, and we're both on board with this one now. I've had this idea in my head for a very long time, but funnily enough, someone else has just jumped on board with it and can see the logic. So, of course, I've got this whole thing of, well, it'd be really useful if somebody came and stayed over. They could stay down there, you know, like as I'm not saying make it a house, because you can't. It's not planning, for example, building.
No.
But in terms of in warmer weather and decent accommodation, the space could be planned out so much better and more efficiently without actually having to have much more space. So of course my brain's been tick 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 tick, and I could walk through it in my head now. I know exactly what I want, which is a bit annoying because trying to explain it to somebody or draw it, because I'm not that good at drawing, but the magic is there, because if you've built it virtually and in the ether, really, if you've built it in the collective unconscious, then it's much easier to become real. That is how I work. I do tend to do stuff in my head first, and yes, near the water, as Hans has said there. And the whole thing is that it will open out properly with sliding doors rather than the sort of wind exposed ones we have at the moment, onto the decking that we've got, which is actually really big and very underused. But I want a canopy overhead so that you can sit out there when it's raining. You can just sit out there, hear the rain on the roof, and be dry by the water. That for me, that will make it more likely for me to do more magical work down there. Because I'm not.
Well, it'll be a call, won't it? It'll call you to go down there. It will. The space will call you to do it.
Yes, exactly. And that's what's happening, is I want to do a lot more of that sort of stuff, but it's not terribly easy because I have to climb everything in order to get it out, and it's drafty, and it's So it's much exciting.
Oh, that's exciting. I love doing things like that. I've done that, in various places that I lived, and like you say, you imagine it in your head, don't you? And it's like, okay, it's going to be this, and you sort of like build stuff up. And obviously, like with the tree house, like the woods, I did the same sort of thing with that. And
exactly, you've got it in
cottage here. Yeah, my little witch's cottage here, which is so limited on space.
Yeah, but like, you use every inch.
Every millimetre is used, isn't it?
It's very
every millimetre is well and truly filled at the moment.
In fact, Susan, who's in here in the chat at the moment, it's thanks to Susan and the lovely studio that her and her fellow have built at the back of their house, which is beyond all compare. It's lovely. But that's actually what triggered the change of heart from his nibs. So
so you've got someone to be thankful for then.
So thank you, Susie.
thank you. He
was quite inspired. Yes, you can blame Steve. Yes, it was because they've got this space, and I just think, but that actually could fit in our garden acrossways. I'm not entirely sure that we've got that much space, but we do have a fair amount. And I think it could be made very suitable for us. We don't need a studio for pottery, because much as I'd love to, it's not on my agenda of things to do. But just what you can do with the space, and tiny house living, which obviously you do on a daily basis, Becky, even so do I sometimes. But the whole thing about utilising space very efficiently. Yeah, like you have to You have to. I like the challenge of trying to think of ways of fitting more, of expanding the space, I suppose, of fitting more into a space.
Yeah. When you think about what my camper van was like and what I managed to be able to get in there, I could quite happily spend 3 or 4 weeks in that at any one time, and it was never a problem. And that's the thing, it's bonkers, really. And it's a tiny little van, and I used to literally spend 2, 3, 4 weeks in it at a time.
But you had enough storage for things, and again, because I've been looking into it with camper vans in future of what we need storage wise. I've got an incredibly clear. Absolutely know exactly what I want. I could design it from scratch down to millimeters now. And I like doing that. It's like my brain likes.
It's fun, isn't it?
Going off and working on it, and ticking over. The van, yes, Hans.
What's 8 foot long?
I'm so sorry.
What is 8 foot long? Hang on.
I think they're talking about that's back in these staffs.
8 foot long. Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, you need to scroll down.
Oh yeah, Ash. Yeah. I didn't know that.
About the
So
buckling.
Chris says, yeah, about the butler. Yeah, Essimone
Betrayal.
Yeah, cupbearer. Yeah.
Well, gin bearer in your case.
Well, yes. Bearer of good news, gin. Yeah. Yeah, bird watcher, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it will be lovely down there. Actually, I think having that space down at the bottom of the garden, I think that would be a real pull for you. You could have your own little apothecary down there too, all your jars of things, jars and books.
Yes. Yes, it will be. There will be many things pugged down there. I mean, ostensibly, it could end up being kind of my office rather than
Yeah.
But yeah, I want it to be a space separate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be really nice. Really nice. The only thing is that if you turn it into your office, then you're not going to have that relaxing time down there. You won't have that switch off time. That's the only thought.
I suppose not. But I mean, either way, it's going to be. It'll either mean I go somewhere else in the house for switch off time, or I go out onto the, like I say, that veranda-y bit. Yeah, I don't mind if I mean, it's practical, isn't it, to have things in the right place?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Something to consider, though, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It is exciting.
Well, it'll take a long time before it really comes about, but the fact that the intention is there, and it's now it's not just in my head; it's somehow transferred across. Yes, thank you very much. It will happen. It's a when, not an if.
Yeah, even better. We like whens.
Yes, we very much like whens. Ifs are all right, but whens are better.
Yeah. Ifs and buts. No. Not so good. Not so good. This cat is sliding all over the place, aren't you? He's very silly. Very silly. He's incredibly silly, this cat. Are you going to say hello to everyone? No.
So now I'm going to look at the floor like there's something interesting down there.
Yes. There was something interesting down there. There was a massive spider, wasn't there? And where were you when I needed you?
Fuss.
This one brought a shrew in.
Oh.
So, of course, there's always a plethora of creatures that are brought in. But when Hattie, this one, when he brings them in, he doesn't bring them in because he wants to hurt them or eat them like the others do. Of course, he brings them in because he loves them.
And he wants to cuddle them.
Yes. And do you remember there was that, I think it was Bugs Bunny cartoon, and there was George the Yeti, and he used to squeeze Bugs Bunny really, really hard.
Yeah, it's a bit like
I will love him, and I will squeeze him, and I will call him George. Well, that's kind of what happens with Hattie. And he particularly likes shrews because they're really small, and of course, poor little things
don't stand a chance, do they?
Don't stand a chance, no. And he doesn't hurt them. That's the thing. He doesn't damage them. He doesn't damage their fur, and he holds them really, really gently. But they're just too.
They die of shock as well, don't they?
And they die of shock, yeah. And it's such a shame because sometimes he'll bring bigger, because obviously shrews are tiny, aren't they? And sometimes he'll bring bigger ones in, and he just sort of sits with them like between his paws like that. Like, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. And I'm like, you can't keep him.
Yeah, you can't keep him in here.
You can't keep him. No, he doesn't want to be kept by you. No. So yeah, and it is. He just, because he's such a cuddle monster, he does actually just want to love them and cuddle them, and he does. He holds them against his face. It's sweet, really. But
probably not from the shrew's point of view, but yeah.
But from the shrew's point of view, ain't that great? No, is it? No. So there we go. So yeah, not so good. So I've saved my exciting news till last. It's my premiere on Friday.
Yes.
So yes, I'm allowed to say what it is now.
You're allowed to say
it under wraps, haven't I, for over a year? So, yeah, at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, it's unbelievable, isn't it? 4.5 months worth of work. I was on Doctor Strange, only as an extra, you might add. I was a robot as well as extras too. But yeah, and so it premieres on. I had the world premiere in America yesterday, I think it was,
Mhm.
and it's coming over here. So yeah, so I've got the premiere of that. So off on Friday to pretend red carpet do. I think there might be a couple of red serviettes on the floor we'll stand on, that kind of stuff. So none of your red carpet stuff. Just have to pretend that. Which you don't get that when you're an extra. But it will be fun to see myself in a film like that. Because it was fun doing it. It's like, there's me. Oh, I've gone. But I do get blown up a couple of times, and I put through a few windows, I think. So that'd be fun. You'll see me flying. So yes, I'm really looking forward to that. And what's really nice is that there were supposed to be a lot of extras, and because of COVID, they had to do with very, very reduced numbers.
To recycle, you didn't.
Yeah, so we got well and truly recycled. You might see us
Reused.
at various ends of the street at the same time, which would be quite. I'm sure the super fans will have a field day with that, because obviously you've got editing.
Yeah, because you're going to be very spottable. It's not like there's,
Yeah.
You're quite distinctive, let's say.
Yeah. So anyway, so that'll be fun. And yeah, so off up to Essex tomorrow to our sort of red carpet do, which isn't a red carpet do. It's just us, sort of getting together and arriving at the cinema at the same time, basically. We're in the film. So yeah, so Doctor Strange 2, go and have a look, see if you can spot me.
When's it on general release? Is it going to be?
It's on general release as of tomorrow, I think. No, Friday. So as I say, it's on general release. When do they do the changeover of films? It is Fridays, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, so general release as of Friday. So yeah, see if you can find me. See if you can find me. I'm in New York streets. That's what I'm in. You'll see me in the New York streets, and you should be able to see me dressed as a robot too.
That might be harder to spot.
Yeah, that will be harder to spot, actually.
So, but the rest of them, it's not like they've made you up to look completely different. You look like you.
I am me. I look exactly like me. I don't look any different at all. So you should be able to spot me relatively easily, even if only briefly. I'll be a fleeting second here and a fleeting second there. But I did spend quite a lot of time very, very close to Doctor Strange, and I even sent him flying at one point. So there you go. Hopefully they'll keep that bit in. I really do, because I literally sent him flying.
That'd be fun.
So I really hope they keep that bit in.
And the counter.
So, see if you can spot me. I shall expect a full report back next week, people. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that, actually, because obviously that was the first, the first filming that I ever did. So yeah.
Have you got any more coming up, or is that gone on the back burner?
I've got I've potentially got a really big one coming up, which is several months worth. Yes. But that's just a waiting game at the moment. That's still a waiting game at the moment. It's not confirmed yet. So that should be coming up. And some of the other stuff that I was in last year, some of the other stuff that I was in last year, that should be coming round for release soon too. So I shall mention it as and when it gets released, hopefully.
In a cinema near you.
In a cinema near you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you'll hear me going, oh my God. As lines go, it's a bit lame, but there you are.
But you had lines. I mean, hello. Equity.
No, they weren't lines. It was ad lib impromptu. Poetic license and all that.
It had to be an American accent. You couldn't be like, oh, God, blimey.
Oh, blimey, governor. No. We were in New York. We were in New York, so no, it wouldn't have worked. Oh, yeah. So, yes, anyway, so I shall report back about that next week. Be interesting to see. Actually, I've seen a few trailers. Because obviously there was, before these big blockbusters, they bring out lots of trailers, different cuts and stuff. And I'm in a few of them. You can see me in a few of them.
I'm going to have to look those up then. Yes.
Yeah. There's a few around in the trailers. So, pardon? I'm not driving. Oh, yeah, I'm the driver. So, yeah, you'll see me driving cars on it as well on the streets.
Yes,
big American cars. They're massive American cars, and then one of them gets blown up. So, yeah, as I say, I get blown up. So, one of them gets blown up. And so you'll see me driving around, and you'll see me trundling around and running and things. And you should see me really, really, really carefully. You'll see me as a robot too. Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, and exciting and something different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you're somebody's nana, someone who's particularly into Marvel films, it's
Ah,
really quite cool.
I can imagine you get very, very big cool points for that.
Yeah, definitely. Cool points of being a nana for that one, definitely.
Batman song.
Batman. Oh yeah, the Batman song. Nana Hana Nana. Was it Nana Hana Nana Hana Nana? Yeah, something like that. It's very confusing. Yeah. So yes. Anyway, on that note, we'll say cheerio and we'll see you next week. Have I got anything missing here? Oh, thank you, Chris. So yeah, exciting and cool. Yeah. So I will see you next week. Enjoy your week. Don't work too hard. Yeah.
No.
All right. Anyway, we'll see you all next week. So, Heather, do the awkward wave, please.
Awkward maybe.
Bye bye. Got to find the button. There it is. Bye bye.